Hi everybody, this is Marty, and I've never done this before, so don't laugh too loud when you watch this. Anyway, Jen mentioned that maybe one of the things that we could do is, like with a song, like the song of the week, Bring Me Sunshine, one of us could do just a little bit of sharing of some technique that you might want to try with a song like that. So I'm going to try to do that here. So for this song, Bring Me Sunshine, I thought about three things. One is sound dynamics, one is strumming and strum phrasing, and the last is using variations of chords. And by the way, if you like this, then thank me, and if this doesn't work out, then blame Jen. Anyway, let me just play a shortened version of Bring Me Sunshine with the things that I'm going to talk about in more detail after I do that. So let me just do that. Here it goes. Bring me sunshine in your smile. Whoa, make me happy all the while. In this world where we live, there should be more happiness. So much joy you can give to each night bright tomorrow. Make me happy through the years. Never bring me any tears. Let your arms be as warm as the sun from up above. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love. Okay, so I'm not too good about remembering lyrics, even when I'm looking at it. But anyway, so let me talk a little bit about a few things that you might want to try with this song. And of course, there's no right or wrong way to play any of this stuff. Sound dynamics, that was the first thing I mentioned. Playing at different dynamic levels, and that's a little bit volume, but other things as well, can make your playing your music more fun, and it can make it a little bit better, maybe entertaining for others too if you're playing for someone else. We tend to sometimes just play our ukulele at the same volume, and a lot of times, especially when we get together, it's like loud or nothing. And when you use different sound dynamics, it can make the song kind of more fun and more expressive too. So let me demonstrate kind of what I was doing if you didn't notice it. The first thing I did actually was not exactly sound dynamics, but I didn't start the song with playing the chords and doing the intro, which is a fine way to start too. But what I did is I said to myself, okay, I'm playing an A, and I figured out ahead of time what the first note of the song was, which coincidentally is an A. So I kind of played that in my head, and I started the song like this. And then the second thing I'll show you is not playing super loud and maybe just being a little more expressive. And later in the song, you might have noticed I picked up the dynamic and it kind of built, or at least I tried to build it a little bit louder and a little bit more exciting. I didn't change the tempo, I don't think. But anyway, here's how I started it. I said to myself that note, bring me sunshine in your smile. Notice I'm not whacking away at the ukulele when I'm doing that. So anyway, that's a little bit about sound dynamics, something that you can just try a little bit. The second thing I mentioned that I wanted to talk about was strumming and strum patterns and strum phrasing. And you'll notice, especially when we learned the ukulele in the beginning, we would play the song like this. Bring me sunshine in your, like that. And that's not so bad when you're learning to play the ukulele. In fact, even songs that we do sometimes, that's the best strum. But what I did was something I've mentioned a couple times in the club, is I really like for the right song a strum that emphasizes the second and the fourth beat of the measure. And so again, what I was doing with this, bring me sunshine, bring in your smile. Notice I'm doing on the second, fourth beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, make me happy. 3, 4. Da da da. So try the 2/4 strum sometimes. Doesn't work with every song. Shouldn't really. but this is just about a suggestion about using some different kinds of strums. You notice that the other thing that I did with this song, and I tried to create the vibe with this strum of the YouTube video with the 5 aces, which I think is just fantastic. But the other thing is I did was I muted the chord a little bit. And you can mute with your right hand, but the better place to mute really, for me most of the time, is with my left hand, because that leaves the right hand available to do what you want to do without having to put it down on the strings like that. Although that's a good thing to do sometimes too with some strums. What I did was I was muting on this side by either putting my finger down like this, or with a chord like E7, you're already hitting most of the strings. So all you have to do is kind of move over and you can stop it. So let me show you that. Whoops, I did the right hand. What's the next chord? And because I'm using a bar chord for the B minor, which I really like the best, it's easy to mute because you just take the pressure off your hand a little bit and it'll do that. So anyway, that's the 2/4 strum with a little bit of muting. And then the other thing you might have noticed that I didn't use the 2/4 strum throughout the song. Sometimes when it just felt right, I did something a little different, like, let's see, make me happy all the while, like that, or whatever occurs to you. What's the other thing about strumming? Blah, 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 blah. The other thing about strumming is sometimes singing without strumming for emphasis or expression during the song. And I did that kind of at the end of that first verse where you use that E kind of augmented plus chord. So it sounded something like this. Let's see. So much joy. Oh, I have to go a little higher. There should be more happiness. So much joy you can give to each new right tomorrow. Bring me happy, or something like that. So I just held that guy, which is kind of a cool chord anyway, and then sang a little bit more before I started. So another thing about strumming and just making it a little more interesting. The last thing I did was strumming. I know I'm getting up to 7 minutes now, but and that is I did a little percussive stuff, and I'll talk about that later in case anybody asks me back to do this again. But percussive strums are that kind of thing that you can throw in once in a while. I did a little bit of that. The last thing I want to say, and I'll try to do this quickly here, is sometimes a variation of a chord works better in a certain situation than others. And I like to do a little different A7 on this song in the third line. Make me happy all the while in this world. And what I do is I add this, this string here on the 3rd fret. It's the 7th note. It's the same as this one. But I can hear the A7 chord just a little bit better if I add another 7th note in the what do you call it, in the key of A in this case. The other variation I did a D like this, where I barred this little puppy up in the 5th fret. It also allowed me to get into this B7. So sometimes a chord variation is nice because it sounds a little different, and then also sometimes you do it because it's easier to get to the next chord, and that's the case here. Going from this D with this guy up here, because I'm barring the D, I can just change one finger and do the B7. Is that a B7? Yeah, B7, and just leave the bar there. So that's another reason to use different fingerings and stuff. In other words, you're thinking about what's the next thing I'm going to do, and where is it best for my fingers to be. Anyway, that's it. I hope you found that useful, and we'll see kind of reviews I get. Bye for now. Stay healthy and safe.